So if you haven't heard, I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and I've watched a lot of YouTube channels grow over the years. Now, one thing I've found after watching YouTube for so many years is a rather unfortunate thing, but some channels who have quote unquote achieved a lot of success and gained hundreds of thousands, sometimes a million or 2 million subscribers, all of a sudden their videos nowadays have plummeted to the ground. They are getting very, very few views every video. 10,000 views, 50,000 views, and one could argue that's kind of embarrassing when your subscriber count says 1 million or 500,000. So what's going on here? And can you identify any common themes that these channels have that some of the more successful channels, the ones who have been around just as long, if not longer, don't have? Because there's plenty of channels as well that are still going very, very strong and getting half their subscriber count to watch every video, or sometimes 80% of their subscriber count to watch every video, and they have like 5 million subscribers or 1 million subscribers. So, have I identified any common themes? I think so. Let me know what you guys think. So, I think one of the big ones, let me just drop a few names just to show you guys what I mean. You can search up these channels if you want. What the Buck, Athene Wins, Peter Chow, um, iJustine to a certain extent. And let's just start with those. So many of those channels, their view count is much, much lower. A huge one is Fred. Fred used to be the #1 most subscribed channel. It shot to fame from close to nowhere, and I remember its rise. And all of a sudden, it became the most subscribed channel. It was generating hundreds of thousands, millions of views every video. And then everything just went out the window. You know, he got his Nickelodeon show, he had the shirts being sold, and then he pumped out about 400, 500 episodes of this Fred character, and it kind of got old. Which brings us to the first common theme I see is a change in passion, a change in deep interest in creating these videos, and sometimes this is just how it works. Um, I think it's very important to just step down or back away if your passion has been removed. Some of these channels, they just haven't, they don't have the same passion or interest in what they do anymore. It's not as fun for them. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, because of the money, they stick with it, and because of that, the quality suffers, and the viewers can sense that, and it can go to crap. Now, that's not always the case, but it's one possible thing. Another is just that the fad has ended. A great example would be Beaner Kiki's channel. He has about 1 million subscribers, I believe, and now he's getting 5 to 10,000 views per video. He blew up virally with his videos lip syncing to popular songs. He had 50 million views on his Katy Perry video. What happened? Well, I think partially it was due to the fad dying out. And the whole lore of the whole thing was the fact that he was this kind of weird character doing these lip syncs to songs that were not characteristic of himself. And if you read the comments, they're pretty much saying that this thing has kind of died out and it's not much interest in this anymore. And so that's another possible thing that you have to look at. The third is the quality of the videos have diminished, or the videos have taken a complete different turn from the money makers. And I use the phrase money makers not because they make money, but because they generate a lot of views. So you could technically call it view makers. And this can happen for a lot of reasons. For Fred, I think he just gave up on it. He wasn't interested in this anymore, and the plot and the whole character and story behind Fred, it was just so much, and he just wasn't interested in doing that anymore. He had matured as an adult, and that's kind of how it worked. And so he took a different turn. Another great example is the Equals 3 show, Ray William Johnson. Another huge channel that blew up to be the most #1 subscribed channel, and he got hundreds of thousands of viewers. Nowadays, his channel sort of receded, but he's still very popular. He has stepped down from the position knowing that he's lost a passion and he wanted to move on to a different thing. But he's gotten someone to replace him and continue that show, and the people still want the show, so it's still going strong, but with a different host, and he's still getting a decent, more than decent amount of views every video he releases. So again, now let's turn to the videos and channels that do very well and have been around for just as long, if not longer. Let's think of Smosh, Nigahiga, think of Rocket Jump, otherwise known as Freddy W. These channels have been around just as long, if not longer. And if you look at these channels, one thing that they've done is they have gotten better and better at what they do, and the quality of their videos, the editing and the time they put in, is just as up to par, if not better, than it was in the past. And if you look at certain channels like Rocket Jump or Smosh in Depth, you can tell that the time and effort and energy they put into all this stuff is literally getting better and better because of all the stuff they're learning in production and editing and visual effects and so forth. Or they're just keeping it quality and they're keeping it consistent with what the audience loves, and it's still really fun and interesting. So again, there's that to the puzzle. I think the whole thing that makes this interesting is that you know, your identity and your place in life is not a static thing. Because time keeps moving forward and we age and mature, and as humans we want to grow, our perspectives and what we want changes. And you may be at the top, but later on in life you may want to do something different. And therefore I've seen channels with hundreds of thousands of views who have sold their entire channel to organizations or companies, or just shut it down. And I've seen channels who have rebranded themselves too. A great example is Rhea's channel, Girl Gone Gamer. And she has effectively rebranded herself and still kept a decent amount of her viewer count, not all of it, from going from a gaming channel to a more personality type channel. So that's interesting in itself. So think about all this, and then having understood all that, remember that what I'm saying is all just my personal theories and could be wrong. And there's probably more to it and a little bit of mystery involved that we haven't really figured out. If you look at a channel like iJustine's channel, one could argue that, well, her quality hasn't really gone down, her viewership has though. Sometimes people just get tired of it, or they just mature, and the audience you once had have all grown up, and you can't capture the same audience anymore with the new crowd for whatever reason. I've had that personally happen when I used to run a really well-known children's blog that got hundreds of thousands of views on a weekly basis. And when I try to recapture that, all of the people on my email